Okay, let's start the complete video. First, let's start from the authentication. This time we are going to use a Google authentication. In my previous video, some of my viewers faced problem with the latest version of Google Sign In, which is published just 30 days ago. We are facing multiple error with this latest version, and in my previous video I'll mention use the older version until the latest version will be stable. But in this today's video, we are going to use the latest version of Google Sign In. Okay, each and every project has authentication feature. That's why we are again use Google login as our authentication. First steps will be set up our Flutter project with Firebase. I'll create the new Firebase project and I'll give name online class. You can give any name that you have want. Continue, select the default account for Firebase. Continue from here, wait until Firebase project is created. Okay, Firebase project is ready. Continue from here. We have used the Flutter Fire CLI to set up our Flutter project with Firebase. If you are first time to set up using CLI, first login, but we have do it multiple time. That's why I'll just next it from here and I'll activate the Fire CLI in my project. Go to the terminal, just hit this command. Can see activate Flutter Fire CLI with 1.3.1. Next, then at the root of your Flutter project directory, run this command. Copy this and run this command in your root of your project. It takes some time to do everything. For Firebase Setup, you didn't need to do anything. It will do everything that will be required for Firebase Setup. Select the platform that you are wants to set up. Default, it will be all selected. I'll just press the enter. It will set up the Firebase for all the platform, Android, iOS, web and macOS. Okay, everything will be set up perfectly. You can see I have faced one problem and I'll solve this by the help of Stack Overflow. I've just log out and again log in. My problem will be solved. Let's go to the Firebase and next it from here. Copy this 3 line of code, paste it here. Okay, and just make it async. We need to initialize the Flutter here. Widget Flutter binding dot ensure initialize. And next things that will be we need to add a package called Firebase Core for Firebase Setup, and at the same time we have also add Firebase Auth for authentication and Google Sign In for Google Sign In authentication. Okay, just import the Firebase core after the package is installed successfully and import the option.dat file. Now everything will be perfect. Our Firebase setup will be successful, but you just need to change one thing for iOS, which is inside your iOS folder code file. Just on command this platform and make it 14. iOS 14 will be required with the latest Google Sign In. Okay, it will also mention here SDK for iOS 12 will require, but make it 14. Okay, and for Android, go to the Android folder. Inside the app label build.gradle, just make the compile SDK version 35 and NDK version will be 17, more than 17. If you didn't set the NDK version, then you will get warning. Okay, instead of this warning, we'll set it before the warning and also set the mean SDK version 24. After that, everything will be perfect. Let's check it. Is everything is perfect until now or not? First, I'll run the app on the iOS. We'll wait until project is run. If anything that we have faced, then we'll solve it. You can see I have set iOS deploy version 14, but at least you need to provide a minimum iOS deployment version will be the 15. Okay. Okay, now this time app will be run perfectly. We have already added the Google Sign In here. Next, we'll set up the environment for Google Sign In for both Android and iOS. Let's see the Google Sign In package, and if you see platform integration and go to the Android, it will mention here you do not need to add it in your pubspec.yml. For Android, you didn't need to do anything. Okay, for iOS setup, you need to add the two things. First will be the client ID, GID client ID. Copy copy this here, go to the iOS runner info.plist, iOS runner info.plist, inside this directory, paste it. We'll replace it later when we have download the Google service file from the Firebase, and I'll just comment out and give name for Google login. It will be easy if I'll visit later and analyze it why we have added this. Okay, next, if you need to authentication to the backend server, if you are using the server, then only need it, otherwise didn't need it, but you need to provide the CF bundle URL type. Copy this from here and paste it here, and remove this unnecessary comment if you want. And we have provide here our reverse client ID that we have get inside the Google service info.plist file that we are going to download from the Firebase console. Next, we'll go to the Firebase console, continue to console here, and inside the build section, authentication, click get started, enable the provider Google. Just enable it and select the email for support and save. It will mention download the latest config file. Enabling Google Sign in for the first time, create new Auth client which is automatically added to your config file for your app. Download and replace the configuration file in your app so that you can use Google Sign in for your app. Okay, just done it from here. We have enabled it. At the same time, sometime it will also show the error if you didn't enable email password. I'll just make it enable and go to the project setting here. First refresh it. It will not set something. Okay, now everything will be perfect. For Android, we need to add a SHA key. For that, just hover your mouse on this icon and go to the see this page. And for Mac and Linux, copy this command from here. For Windows, copy this command. Okay, I'll currently using the Mac, that's why I'm using this command. First I'll clear the terminal and I'll just paste it, and password will be the Android. You can see we have successfully get the SHA1 key and SHA256 key. Just copy it and paste it here, add fingerprint and provide it and save it. Same for the SHA256 as well. Just copy it from here, add fingerprint and provide it and save it. Okay, now everything will be perfect. From here, if you go to your project, one Google service info.plist file will be already there. If you use Google Flutter Fire CLI, it will automatically generate it and place it here. But if you check it here, then there is no any client ID and reverse client ID here. Why? At that time when we have set up using CLI, we are not enable the Google as our provider, but currently we have enabled it. That's why we need to replace your old Google service info.plist and for iOS and Google service.json for Android. Okay, download this Google service.json file for Android and Google service info.plist for iOS. And next open the download directory. This is my download directory. I'll copy the Google service file from here. I'll copy it. Advanced. This is my project. I'll go to the Android app here. This is the old Google service info.plist and I'll paste it here and replace with the new Google service info.plist, and this will be perfect for Android, but the case for iOS will be different. You need to provide it from the Xcode for iOS. Just open your iOS folder inside the Xcode. Okay, inside the runner, Google service info.plist will be there. First, we'll delete this old Google service info.plist file. Let's delete it. Move to trash and add file to runner and select from where you have downloaded Google service info.plist and add it from here. And didn't forget to select the runner. Okay, and action will be the copy file to destination. Finish. It will be added inside the runner folder. If you check it, then this time client ID and reverse client ID will be there. We have added for Xcode, but still if you check it on the VS Code here, Google service iOS runner Google service info.plist, it will be not updated here. You need to do the same process here as well. Okay, again copy this Google service info.plist, go to your project directory, this time iOS runner. Here you can get the Google service info.plist and paste the item here and replace it here. Okay, now everything will be perfect. If you check it, then client ID and reverse client ID will be there. Copy the client ID and go to the info.plist and provide your client ID here, and again go to the info.plist file and this time copy the reverse client ID. Here we have provide a reverse client ID of our project. Okay, save it. I think setup part will be completed. If you have add some package and if you have edit the configuration folder, then I'll suggest you terminate the app and rerun the app. Sometime it will not work or sometime you have face error, then it will be easy to find out. If you have edit the configuration file, then as compared to the other time, it takes more time to run the app. We are again wait until it. Okay, if you again back, if you can see, the app will be run without any error. Now our main task is start from here. After this all, we are going to do a Google authentication in our project. I'll remove this default counter application from here and also remove this. Inside the iOS folder, I'll create one folder and give the name called feature. Inside the feature, I'll create the two folder. One will be auth and second will be the home. Inside the auth folder, we have performed the authentication part. Inside the home folder, we have placed all the dart files that will be related to the meet screen. Okay, inside the authentication screen, again I'll create the two folder which is called screen and service. To make the project structure clean and clear, I'll separate the each and every part. Inside the screen, I'll create the one file called Google login screen.dart stateless widget Google login screen, and in main.dart file I'll pass this Google login screen. You have used the authentication many times and you know for the Google authentication we have required the auth method to perform the authentication. We have already added a Firebase Auth package and Google Sign in package. Instead of wasting too much time, I'll already prepare the code, but I'll only make you clear each and everything. How is it work and how is it different from the previous version? Okay, we have stored the authenticated user data. That's why Firebase Firestore will be also required. Let's add the Cloud Firestore. Okay, and inside the Firebase console, let's open the Firestore database. Create the database. We'll use the South Asian server and start in a testing mode and create the database. Okay, after the package is added, let's import the Cloud Firestore. Now I'll make you clear each and every part. How is it work? How it will be different from the previous version? Okay, I'll make you clear. I'm going to use the latest version 7.1.1 which is currently available at the time of video shoot, which is 15 August. Okay, everyone know that. First we need to create the server class for Google Sign In, and next we'll create the instance for Firebase Authentication and Google Sign In. It will be clear. Next, authentication and Google Sign In is initialized and set it false, currently not, and I'll create the initialize sign in method here. It will be required before the authentication. Before you are going to start the authentication, you need to initialize it. It will be mandatory for Android. If you continue without initializing for iOS, it may work, but with Android it will not work. Okay, that's why you need to initialize the Google Sign In before authentication. Just Google Sign In instance of Google Sign In dot initialize. That's it, and you need to pass the server client ID. From where you can get the server client ID, go to the Android app Google service.json, then you can find the server client ID here. You can find this will be your server client ID. Okay, didn't confuse. This is not. This will be your server client ID. I'll just copy it from here and paste it here. This is my server client ID of my previous project. Okay, after you have passed the server client ID and initialize, set it initialization will be true. Okay, then we'll start the sign in with Google authentication part. I'll create the future method with user credential and give the name called sign in with Google and make it this function async and use try catch. You know everything until now. This is simple. Future class with user credential and give the name any name that you want and make it the function async. Why we are going to use the data from internet and try catch, which help us to find out the error. Okay, first make sure Google sign in will be initialized before start to authentication inside the Google sign in method. If you initialize it, your next step will be the show Google account picker and get selected account. This will be the show Google Google account picker and get the selected account. These steps will be required after the latest update. Okay, keep in mind these steps. After you have picked the account and get selected account, next steps will be the retrieve token for authentication. ID token. How you have get the ID token? Get user that you have picked .authentication.id token and authorize it with the client. You have already get the ID token. Next steps will be the access token from the authorization scope. Google sign in client authorization. Okay, it will text the email and profile, and your access token will be the authorization.access token. After only you can get. Still, if access token not received, try to get it. Okay, during getting the access token, if you have face error, show the Firebase exception. If not, then continue to create the Firebase credential from Google token. This time you have get the access token and ID token, then provide it with the Google provider. Okay, after that your next and last part will be sign in with this user credential with Google credential. That's it. After that your Google authentication will be completed with the latest version. If you want to store the data that the authenticated user inside the Firebase Firestore, then do these steps. If user not equal to null, then store all the data. That means if user are authenticated for the first time, then store the user data inside the user collection. Otherwise, only return the user credential if that user is already created. If face any error, return the error message. Okay, here is the sign out method. Simple and clear. Sign out from both Firebase and Google account. If you only sign out from the authentication or Google, then you have faced the error. Inside the sign out method, if you are using Google sign in, then inside sign out method, log out from both the authentication and Google sign in. Okay, get the current user. If wants to make this common, then get the current user here and you can call it. Okay, after this all, if possible, I'll provide the authentication part code on the video description. Your authentication method will be ready. Then go to the Google login screen part. Inside this part, we have just display one image here and continue with Google. Okay, this login screen will be also simple and clear. That's why I have already prepared the code for it. In every project, we have continued this same authentication feature. That's why I have already prepared this common use code and I'll just explain it how this function work. Okay, stateful widget, simple stateful widget. I'll set the initial loading indicator will be false, and inside the sign in with Google method with handle the Google sign in button click. First, initially when user click the Google sign in button, show the loading indicator, then call the Google sign in service that we have created. If widget is still mounted in UI, return the empty. If user credential not equal to null, then navigate to the next screen, which means authentication will be the success. I'll create the next screen inside the home screen and give the name called app main screen dot stateless widget app main screen, which is scaffold, and inside the Google login screen I'll call this file if Google login will be the success. Navigation helper, instead of every time using navigator.pop and push, will create the one common navigation helper file into the navigation file, and I'll give the file name called route dot that I have already mentioned. Instead of using navigator every time, we have created the common navigation helper. Inside this navigation helper class, I'll just define the two things, one for push new screen and push replacement. If you want to add the push name, remove, until, and some other, which is simple. I didn't do anything. Navigation.push material page route screen we will only pass the destination screen. Okay, which is simple and clear. Inside the sign in with Google method, if success, then we will navigate using the navigation helper push replacement. It will expect the two things, one will be the context and another will be the destination screen. Our destination screen for Google login success will be the app main screen. Okay, at the same time, if login success, we have also display the user credential with display name to find out which to identify it will be success or not in the debug console. If you didn't want, then you may comment out this. Okay, and we have show the error message. If login fail and user cancel the login, then we will show the error message in one beautiful manner. I have used the cherry toast package. When I have found this package, I'm in love with this package. I like so much this package, which looks simple and awesome. This is the package. You can see you can use this package to show the different message from top, button, left, right, and I will use from the top, and I will also show you how it look like. In this package, it provide the mainly two things, which will be the snackbar type.success and snackbar type.error. I'll make this common. If we have required the success message, then we have call this. If we have required the error message, then we have call this. In title, it will default display the fail for error and success for success. In description, we will pass the custom description that we have required. Okay, and at the same time, same with error, we have print the error message for debugging purpose, and stop loading indicator if everything will be perfect or everything will be the incorrect. In both case, we have stop the loading. Here we have start loading when user click. If success, it will navigate and stop the loading. If there will be the error, show the error message with the snack bar and stop the indicator. It will be simple and clear. Here I'll display the one simple image. It will currently show the error. Why? I forget to set it in the abstract file. Just uncomment it and provide the folder name and slash. It will text all the image inside this folder. Okay, and restart it. Okay, email will be display. And here also, if is loading, then show the circular progress indicator. Otherwise, show this size box. Inside this size box, I'll text the full width and elevated button. On press, I'll call the sign in method that we have created here. I'll display this Google login icon and text sign in with Google. Nothing and no unwanted things. We have only used the required things, and I'll make this debug false. So check debug, so check model banner false. Format, save, restart the app, and let's try if Google sign in will be OK or not. I'll also open the debug console. If we have faced any problem, it will display it. Sign in with Google. You can see when I have clicked, it start to load and I'll continue from here. I'll select the account. I'll use this account. Continue from here. If everything will be perfect, it will stop loading and navigate to the next screen. Google sign in fail. Let's see what will be the error. Cloud Firestore on and unable to establish connection on channel. Flutter error. Unable to establish the connection on channel. I don't know why we have faced this error. Let's see, is anything is stuck? Here everything will be perfect. In Google login screen, it will be also perfect. Auth method. Let's check it here. As you can see, authentication will be completed, but connection will be lost. Let's copy it and source the error. What will be the error? Everyone says that this will be not error. Let's clean the project and run it again. Sometimes this type of error will happen. I'll clear the project and again next I'll pop get, and this time let's see what will happen. Let's terminate the app and run it again, and let's see. Okay, after terminate and rerun, let's see this time it will work or not. I think I'll check the code again, but I didn't find any error. And another things, that is authentication is completed. It will display in Firebase. Auth provider will be displayed. Yes, you can see this is not a problem on the code. We have successfully logged in. User sign in. Name of the user will be the WTF code. If you have completed the code, then terminate the app and then login only. Okay, body, center, child, text. Okay, in the center I'll call the elevated button. Inside this button, in child, I'll pass the icons called logout, icons.exit to app. Remove this const from here, and next Firebase, I'll forget the auth method class name, Google Sign In Service, Google Sign In Service dot sign out. Okay, and next provide the destination. After you have signed it, where you need to navigate. Navigation helper dot push replacement screen will be the Google login screen. Okay, Google login screen. Perfect. Everything will be perfect until now. Now authentication will be completed. You can see two authentication. If you go to the Firebase storage, play one user will display here. Name called WTF code. If you log out from here and again sign in, use another account. Okay, we have successfully logged in using the name of the user called Navin Powder, and if you check it here, then this user all the info will be stored in the Firebase Firestore database. Okay, Google login part will be completed.